Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Super Journey Dudes podcast, our talkback session after episode 4, Honor Amongst Vandals. I think that's an appropriate title given what we just saw. So today we are obviously not joined by Alex Defran again because he is still in Philly / New York doing tattoo things. But we got the rest of the crew here. And before we get into talking about the episode, for those of you who haven't seen yet or heard, we have a special announcement. Super Journey Dudes is now an ambassador for Misty Mountain Gaming. We are finally, this is like our first really official sponsorship. Misty Mountain Gaming is a really awesome dice company. They do like TTRPG accessories beyond dice, but dice is a big part of their company. They got a great community, really awesome staff behind there that really hooked us up. So if you guys like dice and want to get in on some Misty Mountain Gaming dice, use the code SUPER15 at checkout, and that'll give you 15% off Misty Mountain Gaming, which is very exciting. We're all dice goblins over here, so being sponsored by Misty Mountain is really sick. And we're like a pretty new we're a pretty new show, Super Journey News. We've only been doing this thing a little while, so finally getting something like this is really cool.
I hope we can get our dice in 2 weeks
we gotta place an order. Well, I'm waiting for Defran. Whenever he gets back, he's gotta or I'll let him know to
Defran's gonna pick the most obscure one that he can't even read.
Well, I want to prioritize you, Sappy, because for those of you who don't know, Sappy has been rolling with partial dice for the entire campaign, basically. Luckily, we only need a D20 and some D6s, but we need to get Sappy some real sets because he doesn't play
3 die total.
He doesn't play TTRPGs except on the podcast.
They're all in my hands currently.
All right,
and I got them from Alex.
Macho wants to say something.
I stole them from his big bag of die.
Macho says Misty Mountain Gaming for all your dice needs. I'll put the
Macho's rolling dice right now.
Can you believe that this is Sappy's second TTRPG game ever? And this is Amy's first one.
This is actually
a bunch of newcomers.
Well, you played offline.
Yeah, it's I played offline. This is my second.
Okay, but okay.
I've never got this far though, because I never finished a campaign because schedules and meeting up.
Yes,
and that was before everyone was doing it online like this.
Yeah,
so it was worse. Yeah. So meeting up was hard.
In-person sessions are definitely a lot more. Yeah, you invest a lot more, obviously.
Yeah.
I miss doing more in-person sessions. One day, maybe if we could get a show or something, we could do a table, and that would be really nifty.
If they sponsored me, let's say an airline sponsored me, I would fly to Canada every weekend.
Yeah,
that'd be really sick.
I would fly to Toronto every weekend just for the show.
Yeah. Well, it would probably be we would get a certain amount of days, a weekend, and just film 3-4 episodes a day.
Definitely.
Crank them out. That's what
I'll just stay. I'll just bring my computer and my mic just to have work.
That would be so good.
That would be really sick. One day, maybe one day. Hey, you guys use that Super15 code. And show people that people are watching. And people
all caps.
Maybe one day it'll happen.
No cap, all right.
But let's talk about Honor Amongst Vandals, session 4 of the backstory episode. First thing we saw was that intro of Bugaki putting up that photo and the introduction of Gojin Silver, who we guys talked about Jin Commanders and kind of set up a bit of the world a bit. Because we hadn't really talked about too much of it just yet at this point, I think. But the war that happened many years ago and the Jin Commanders and kind of where your characters stand in their relations to it. I mean, Whiskers, we learned about Whisk being a Jin Commander. With Bugaki, we learned that his father, Cornelius Dingleberry, aka Horny Dingleberry, was also the Jin commander that created the treaty. We learned a lot of cool stuff. But Gold and Silver is definitely was a fun little thing I wanted to play in episode 4.
None of us knew what the skull meant.
yeah. Sometimes you put in a hint and it just
decided.
Exactly. The die decided. It's so true.
Yeah. I don't know if caps matters for the code, but let me know if you try.
It does matter. Most people, if I have a code with them, then exactly how they spelled it is exactly how it should be, or it won't work.
Super 15. Really cool to get some backstory. With all of you guys, and then specifically the person we knew the least about up until this point, which is Mikey Starhand. Finally dropped.
Yeah, he's a little mystery man. Came out there.
Little Michelangelo Bezos.
Michelangelo.
It was just kind of funny because I feel like everybody was just having that moment where they were like talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, Mikey's gotta kind of chime in here or something."
We're all talking about our dads.
Everyone's talking about their daddy issues, and I feel like there was a point like I could almost sense it over the internet that Sappy wanted to like say something about his backstory, but then he like pulled back, and then the whole like car ride, and then the Bogogo thing, and then the mention of Joseph Bezos. He was like, "It's coming out. It's coming out." Whether you like
it was just funny because. It was like, I think the moment somebody wanted to ask me about it, I was like, don't fucking bring it up. Don't talk about it. Forget about it. And then we started talking about it more.
Yeah.
So he was still hesitant.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, we talked about it in chat, but I think one of the things I am very most proud of, and like, like I like doing the voices, I like my storytelling, but like, I feel like one thing I'm pretty good at nailing is music curation.
Oh, so good.
For like, I don't know, like I get a huge list, and I get a bunch of royalty free music from like Incomtech and tabletop audio and stuff, and like I don't have them memorized, but I have like a document that has like what the vibe of every track is. So when I have a scene, I guess here's a little behind the scenes. I like listen to a bunch and then like try to like layer it underneath and then like play out a bit of the scene and see if it works. And like this scene with the swanky saxophone, like the edgy backstory saxophone, Night at the Docks, shout out to Kevin McLeod, like that track so perfect for that little backstory moment.
It really just made it a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, and there's my film degree at work. I'm very proud of like my music creations, and even like in the charity streams that I did for the Pink City, for the D&D stuff back in the day, I feel like the music was always like always appropriate and always pretty sick. So I am very happy with how the music is layered in this campaign. I mean, vibe is such a huge part of this, right? Especially we wanted to like simulate that neo-noir vibe of Cowboy Bebop. So hopefully that came across. I think that scene especially was like, as soon as it hits, I forget like what your first word was, Sappy. But
I think it was just the moment I was just kind of like, I said, "That's my blood."
Yeah, and then the saxophone comes in.
And then, but it was also just like paired up with like Bugaki's immediate reaction because I said it, and I was like, it's kind of a loose like tell. I wasn't just like he's my dad or I'm related. I was just like, oh, he's my blood. And then Bugaki's like, huh? And then on the fucking cue, the music hits on his eyebrow raise. I'm like, oh,
so good. Yeah,
such a casual moment.
I take a lot of joy in doing that behind the scenes. But yeah, we will learn a lot more about everyone's backstory really over the next couple episodes. One thing I do want to mention, this whole like Drift Vandal encounter, I guess, social encounter, I suppose, because it could have been a fight at any moment. Originally when I kind of like mapped out like what I had in mind for like how the story could go, I didn't know you guys would befriend Rusty last episode, right? And that whole like thing thrown out at the end about the race and stuff, I like improvised that because originally I had thought that you guys losing your micro blink drive would be motivation for you, and like you guys talking to Drift Vandals would be motivation for you guys to get involved in the race. And that was originally why that was kind of in there. And so just like interesting to see that like also didn't really turn into a fight. You guys also ended up befriending in a way them. So like it's really cool to see as a DM like your social interactions and how they do not play out how I envisioned them to, and then how that affects like the rest of the campaign. But yeah, that was the origin of like why you guys lost your microblink drive, why it got stolen, and like how the race kind of gets involved.
I thought you just like
in
your plot with us.
Yeah, and that
I
too.
thought Chris wanted to fuck with us.
And that too.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the motivation was to like get your microblink drive back. But you got it back this episode, and you're still racing. So
we're
win-win.
persistent. We don't like things being stolen from, especially when we were bare bones. When you take our like expensive things, we're like, wait, I didn't even know we had that.
Yeah, and you need that.
That was a function. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the episode was gonna be done, and then he gives this other scene with Curry coming in and trying to steal our shit again. Like what?
Curry did the most disrespectful move. Honestly, whole family lineage. Like for those who aren't aware, like,
yes, I want to talk about Curry Larson. Yeah, so in Rainbow Valley season 1, so we wanted to thread in a lot of tie-ins to like cameos to the season 1 of our campaign, which takes place in the far future. But you know, Curry Larson was an example of a character whose lineage goes all the way back. So like we had a character in Rainbow Valley called Chili Larson, who was just an absolute shithead. And then like we like I don't know, I think in conversation we are like it'd be funny if they had like so many like food named relatives, and then so like when we were making this campaign, me and D-Fran were thinking like Curry Larson existing would be hilarious, and then his dad Cheddar Larson and all those. So
it's just the thing here. The thing that was funnier for me is that I feel like Curry was actually worse, like in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
the way he interacts with us.
Yeah,
he's just so much more balls to our face, like about it. And then there's like, at least with Chili, like we kind of scrutinized him a lot. We like made fun of him. He was just introducing himself.
To us we just made fun of him. And they got pissed off.
We made fun of him a lot, and that's why we got into a fight. This one, it felt just like he really. Was just messing with us.
He was like supposed to be like the filth, like the bottom of the barrel. Like you guys like had every reason to hate him, and the audience should.
Yeah.
And he's like the guy who like fucks with you guys the most, I think, up until now. So it's the Larsons, man. What can you say? But shout out to Brie Larson. Brie Larson's actually a cool Larson. So.
The one that got out.
The one that got out, yeah. The one that's not actually, she's also named after food, I guess. I was gonna say,
oh my god, she is
the one that's not named after food, but she is.
That's hilarious.
She's not named after food, but a food and her share a name. But yeah, Amy, she could be named after food. Who knows? Amy, as someone who's also watching and experiencing this episode for the first time, highlight moments.
Well, you already brought it up in the beginning. It was the music. This episode was like very music focused, and it really like got you in. Like, I feel like it also like. I have a question. Wait, it's a dumbass question. Never mind. I was gonna say, but I remember when we were playing, I didn't hear any music when we were in the middle of playing.
There was a little bit in the background, right?
I don't remember. The reason why I asked is because I feel like if he was hearing the music, it made him more inclined to like really feel what he was saying. Like it helps. So but I don't know if you guys were listening to the music.
So all
that's what I'm saying. That was just really good.
So I guess
that's the way the timing works.
That's the difference between I guess live, because live, like because the audience is seeing it and we're doing it at the same time. Like I have to play it like via the jukebox and Roll20. What sucks about that is that when I'm editing it, like the music gets chopped up. Whereas like I edit the scenes in post production for this show, and then I add the music so it's like unmessed with.
It was really good how you lined it up, because like it really sounded like let's say if he was reading something like off a script or whatever. The timing and the diction and everything as the song is going, it was just like
thank you.
You know what I mean?
I
like
very carefully
he was on some like stage play type of dramatic shit. I was like, this dude.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time with the music, like figuring out like where the timing is.
Very well.
Yeah.
I'll remind everyone that Chris has an actual film degree. So yeah.
You better fucking use it.
Yeah, so I'm doing it. I'm using it.
Whenever Chris goes hard like that, it always gets me because I don't expect any kind of like good to come from my voice or anything, and then like he just kind of like turns it into this scenario, and then I'm like, and then paired up with whatever rambling, he's just like, oh wow, oh this sounds better with that,
which is awesome because you guys are experiencing because we obviously played it, but you guys are experiencing the show like watching it with production for the first time. Like you guys are seeing the combat with the effects for the first time. You guys are seeing the scenes with music for the first time. So it's really cool to see your reactions too, because like you guys were in it, and then now like there's like the atmosphere is like now like fully rounded out in every scene, and it's just like
playing through it's totally different because you're living in the moment a lot more, and I'm not like immediately thinking about what just happened. Even post recording, I just kind of like you just kind of think about what's coming next week because you almost want to think about a plan for the next episode.
Yeah,
but it feels good also when you're not like really planning because it's more authentic. Like when
there's definitely some episodes I give up.
Yeah, I'm wondering
depending
if maybe
on the scenario for me.
I'm wondering maybe if in future, like a future show or something, I can try a thing where like maybe I play music.
Nah, don't drive yourself crazy.
No, but like while we play, but like not record it, like not have it as part of the recording, just to at least set an atmosphere. Because you're right, Amy. Like it could influence like how someone's like.
There is DMs that do that. There are some DMs that I have specific music for certain aspects or whatever.
Yeah, Chris does do that live.
I usually do, if I'm doing like an in-person thing or like if I'm like like at a real table.
You need that like that streaming board where you could just click the stream deck.
I have a stream deck, but I use it for the voices. I use it for the changing the voices.
But you could also put some like sounds.
I do have sounds. I have like
whatever makes it easier.
Like
you do
shit, like hey mother. Like stuff like that. And I could do music, but like it's there's a lot of buttons, you know. But maybe in the future I could try because it does set a vibe. Like Amy, you're right. Like it could set a mood for a scene, and it's more immersive as a player.
Yeah, it really helps. Like if someone's like, because we're all improving, so it like the music helps you have a right direction of where you're going with your bullshit. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It puts you in the setting and like how you're gonna go about what you're gonna say.
Yeah, something I'm ready to think about. Could be cool. But then I have to like, it's nice to do it after the fact because then I don't have to like worry about. Like,
of course.
And like I don't know what scenes are happening because it's all like happening like improvised, right? So like I don't necessarily know. Like I may have ideas of
you don't know if we're gonna play out. Maybe you'll
we need a live band. We need like the Roots. We need like some Jimmy Fallon shit.
I think I remember when you were doing when you were doing the Medenya campaign with like Lynn and Mickey and Angel and all of them. I remember there were some scenes where you would change the music. They're like, oh shit, like this is what I'm supposed to like feel right now. They would like try to like go into it.
It's like it's crazy how much music can affect the experience of a scene. And that's like why like that's why
make or break some things.
Yeah.
Like Bugaki sneaking around in that sneaky TikTok music. If anyone's on TikTok, everyone uses that when there's like some goofy sneaky shit going on.
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah, that's like a #1 sound people use when they're like talking about something like stupid or sneaky. Mischievous stuff.
It's something I can explore. Because and sometimes I have like extra tracks just to like throw on if I need something. When I'm playing like live. Because you never know what's gonna happen, or like I have multiple options, and then like depending on the vibe, it's like a whole thing to think about. It's pretty intense, but I'm glad it's appreciated because I do take pride in that.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Most definitely.
And then another, I guess the last thing that I had noted that I wanted to mention is like, the amount of options that I try to give you guys, like in terms of like how to play out certain scenarios. For example, you guys started this whole mission looking for a briefcase, and then that kind of led you here to this fucking race, and Stingy Hands coming in at the last minute and being like, hey, if you throw the race, you can just get 2K right now, which would basically pay off your thing to get the briefcase, and like just giving you guys more options and just like almost like throwing you into a pot and like seeing what like cooks with you guys and like what you guys end up choosing to do, I think is really fun. And it's funny that you guys choose the things that you do, because it really says a lot about each of your characters.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a lot of it also like from like my character standpoint is like if I had to picture it, I feel like if we were all to walk into a room, he would go. We all started like no, actually, Bugaki would kick the door down first, kind of charge in. Me and Whiskers would walk in at the same pace, and then Whiskers would kind of hang out the front and like observe everything, and then I would have to catch up to Bugaki.
Yeah, or you do some like stealthy thing.
Yeah.
I feel like generally like how we move is based on Bugaki's headspace as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he is the commander of the Byzantine army. He does.
We have to
adjust.
Presence.
Every interaction
we either have to back him up or pull him out.
it's with Bugaki, it's always he's trying to disguise as someone, or he's trying to do some kind of a deal, or he's trying to assert his authority in some way.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have small energy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Napoleon complex.
Yeah, exactly.
Every room he walks into, I love it.
Yeah.
I always pick the
just
biggest one.
Yeah.
Love giving you options. If anyone in the chat has any questions or any thoughts about the episode, next episode or the next 2 episodes, the race itself, like we said this before, but some of the most fun D&D that we've ever played, or fun tabletop that we've ever played. Like we kind of homebrew. It's still Lancer. We kind of homebrew the combat in a way that it's like a death race, where it's like combat, but you're trying to get to the finish line.
Yeah,
and like.
Man, we definitely got into like a whole mechanic system for it too.
The moments are so cool.
So good.
It's so sick. It's basically our red line pod racing fucking episode, and it's really sick.
And if you haven't fully seen season 1 yet, or if you have seen it, I suggest going back and just comparing before this episode drops to watch the other Canyon race that we have.
That's for a chase scene. Chase.
Yeah, it's like it's the only other time we do vehicle like stuff that isn't like a train
episode.
heist.
It's 20 something.
It's like episode 24, 23, Rainbow Valley.
It's Junkyard Chase Part 1. It's episode 21.
We love our vehicles here. I mean, Akira is like a big influence for a lot of stuff. But the race, Red Line, one of my favorite movies, like visually one of the coolest things ever. But the next 2 episodes are like Red Line / pod racing. If you mix that into like
mixed with Speed Racer,
Speed Racer, yes, very sick, very sick. So definitely don't miss the next 2 weeks. Sorry. We're going to have next week being part 1. And then I guess I'll announce this now. We plan to, on the last week of every month, on the Monday. So that'll be February 27th for us. We're going to do a live stream one shot. Basically in the same light as like the Learning Lancer one shot that we did. To kind of kick off this whole like Lancer campaign that we did. We're going to do like one shots as part of like a larger campaign of players, including Amy, as Jin commanders in the war that took place many years ago. Just to like, build a bit more of the world out, and to have like a live streamed game because it's a different experience. It'll be easier to get guests in week to week. So we're going to start that on the 27th, and then we'll be back on the 6th for part 2 of the race. So there's gonna be a fucking shitty cliffhanger to wait on, but it'll be worth it. It'll be very worth it.
I love how we keep going back further in time. Every time we play a campaign, we go back in time.
Yeah. Well, we started out so freaking,
something about prequels that just like has a really cool feeling. Like I remember when watching Star Wars prequel trilogy for the first time as a kid. When like those connections happen and the little cameos, it's just like a cool feeling of like, oh yeah, that's that thing that does the thing. So I don't know. I love that feeling of prequels. And it builds out the world that we can also build on moving forward too. Because we're still not done filming Blank Space Blues. We've only been filming episode 17 latest. So we're a bit ahead, but still plenty to go. But we will see you guys same time, same place here next week. So thank you all for tuning in. That was a fun one. A lot of cool art, a lot of cool characters, some funny moments. And then, part 1 of the race next week. Don't want to miss it. All right. Over and out, y'all.
See you around. We gotta find something else.
Yeah, over and out for now. All right. Peace out.
See you guys.